A big welcome everyone to our event. This is Niall Gallagher here from Engineers Ireland with the latest in our event series about how to build your network in final year engineering. Look, before we kick off with the event, to say if there are any graduates here who are tuning in, they want to pick up some networking skills. Don't forget this can count towards your CPD. There's a CPDR going on the topic of networking, and all you need to do is watch this video along with the other ones that will be coming onto our YouTube on the same topic. You can log into your membership profile to log all this information, and on the My CPD tab. And for student members, firstly, just to say, if you are studying in college, one great way to start building your network is to join Engineers Ireland and start going to all the different events, whether they're in person or they're webinars. And that's a great way to start meeting people and networking with them. And it's all free. You can join for free. If you're about to graduate, don't forget to become a full member once you do graduate. You just log into your membership dashboard and you click become a full member. It's completely free to become a graduate member, and you save €700 during the first 4 years of your career. So yeah, that's something you can find out about if you email membership@engineersireland.ie. And I guess without further ado, we can kick into the main part of today's event. Now, if you want to come back on camera while I just introduce you, Niall Pickering is a fourth-year applied physics student in the University of Limerick with a keen interest in renewable energy and sustainable development. Problem solving is his greatest passion, and this is what drives him in college, the workplace, and everyday life. Niall's ambition for his career is to combine his problem-solving skills with his concern for the planet. That's definitely a noble ambition, Niall. And yeah, look, I'm delighted to hand it over to you and to give all our participants an insight into kind of building their networks in final year engineering.
Thanks, Niall. Thanks very much for that introduction. Just give me a minute here while I share my screen.
Take your time. Your sound is great.
Perfect.
And yeah, we're getting visual. Yeah, that looks perfect. Thanks, Niall.
Okay. So yeah, just thanks again to Niall for inviting me here this evening. It's a great pleasure to be talking to you guys. My presentation tonight is just gonna cover a little bit about me, and then I'll go into networking and how it's helped me so far in my career. So hopefully this works. Right, yeah, so just a little bit about me. I'm from the lovely County Laois in the Midlands. I used to be, just finished up as an energy engineer intern for a Tipperary energy agency, and I'm currently attending college in UL down in Limerick. So just moving on to UL. Funny enough, I'm not actually an engineer, as Niall mentioned. I'm a physics student, so I'm in Bachelor of Science Applied Physics. I'm in my final year, fourth year. But my education is quite similar to engineering. Like, I suppose problem solving, critical thinking, IT skills, they're quite similar because I know engineers as well. So we have similar skill sets, I suppose. On my course, I also got the chance to do an 8-month co-op placement, which was a really good experience. Yeah, so I've about a year of work experience as an engineer with Tipperary Energy Agency. So back, I think it was about a month before kind of COVID got really serious, I applied for a third-year engineering it was a summer internship, I think, while I was in second year. Luckily and thankfully, I suppose, I got the position. So I worked with Tipperary Energy Agency for summer of 2020 for 3 months, and then I returned for my co-op placement in the middle of third year for about 8 months. My work focused on areas like community energy, renewable energy, and I also got the chance to do a research project on smart grids and blockchain. And I'm currently still sort of working with the agency. I'm doing my final year project in partnership with the agency. So just moving on then, that's plenty about me. Just going to move on to some networking now. I think for networking, some of the best chances to network are right under your nose. So, I mean, most of us are probably in engineering courses, so you have to look towards your classmates. I know in UL anyways, a lot of the engineering courses, there's hundreds of people in there. You know, it might be a good idea to get to know those people and start networking with them, because after all, they're all going to be engineers like us in the future. So it'll be good to have contacts out there, definitely. And you could probably end up being one of their colleagues at some stage. Just moving on to family and friends then. talk to the people in your personal life about your career, whether that be a family friend or an uncle or whatever. They're often a great bank of knowledge, and they have done their fair share of networking, especially if they're a little bit on the older side, a little bit on the retirement age rather than the graduate age. And of course, they will do their best to help you in your career. It's in their best interest to help you out. Next up then is colleagues. So I'm sure most of us have had a job in the past, whether it was in a cafe or a pub or on placement with an engineering company. Either way, work is a great place to get to know the people that you work with. So if you're on placement in an engineering company and one of your colleagues or maybe your mentor or your boss, you're interested in how they got there, just ask them. They'll be happy to tell you. And also, if you have any questions or a career decision that you need help with making, I'd advise you to ask for their opinion, because at some stage, they've probably either made that decision themselves and gone through that kind of decision process, or they know someone or have already helped someone with making that decision process. And then just looking at the last opportunity, conferences and events like the one you're logged into now are gold mines for young career engineers. Virtual conferences like this one seem to become the new norm. So we're kind of going to have to get used to it. I think part of that new norm focuses a lot heavier on the use of LinkedIn than it previously did, although LinkedIn has always been quite important in my view. So just moving on to LinkedIn then, I can't overstate the importance of it, especially in the kind of virtual world that we're living in. It provides a brilliant opportunity to connect with classmates, colleagues and friends, all your potential networking opportunities. And it also allows you to search and keep up with the latest opportunities, so job opportunities or volunteering or perhaps education programs and stuff like that, and helps you keep up to date with the news in your fields of interest. I think having a good presence on LinkedIn can work wonders for your career. So I've kind of gone with 3 pillars. So the first one being active. That kind of means having an updated profile picture on LinkedIn and not, don't put up a photo of you with your mates in the nightclub or whatever. Take half an hour to put a shirt on, take a few professional looking pictures and upload that to LinkedIn. Another part of being active on LinkedIn is interacting with posts and connections. So, if you feel the need to post on LinkedIn, if you've made an achievement, I suppose, or got a new job or whatever, feel free to do so. And it's also good to interact with your connections. So I think a healthy level of debate on LinkedIn is quite useful sometimes, because it educates both sides of the story, I suppose, or both kind of debatees, I think the word is maybe. But then moving on to professionalism, I would highly advise you to avoid interaction with controversial posts. It's LinkedIn, it should stay professional. It's not Facebook or Reddit or Twitter. Don't start getting into arguments with people. And also keep any posts that you put up, keep them career focused. So, don't put up a post saying that you're going to Malta for a week or, things like that. Keep it career focused. And last of all, keep it shameless. So don't worry about what people think about you putting stuff up on LinkedIn. Your network and your connections will be delighted to see you doing well. So they like to see that you've achieved something new, say a new job or good exam results, or maybe you got a letter from an important person and it was good news and stuff like that. I see LinkedIn as a digital CV where you can kind of boast and brag about how brilliant you are, I suppose. That's what it should be used for, and I definitely think it should be used to the best of its ability. Then just moving on to how networking has helped me so far. So just looking in the top left, so just by having good connections in Tipperary Energy Agency, I managed to get my final year project with them. So I have a supervisor in Tipperary Energy Agency and I also have a supervisor in UL, and it's brilliant to have both of them because it's 2 different sides, but they work together brilliantly to help me through my project. Then just looking at the top right, getting in touch with a graduate of a master's course that I'm interested in. I got a very positive response to this message, and I sent similar messages to other people as well that were graduates of the same course and also got positive messages. It's quite useful for just kind of getting feedback that's very honest about, I suppose, about courses, but that also applies to potential companies that you might want to work for as well. Feel free to get in touch with people on LinkedIn. Be polite about it, but do get in touch with them, and you'll be better for it. Then just looking at the bottom left, we were working with a client, and that's what I typically, whenever we're working with a client or I meet someone new and I see them on LinkedIn, I'll send them an invite to connect, and then we're connected, and that's kind of building up my network. I suppose LinkedIn is like a digital record book of your network, so you can keep all the people that you've kind of made connections with. I suppose you can connect with them on LinkedIn. After connecting with this client, obviously I received a message about a job opportunity with the client, so it's never a bad thing to get a job offer. And then this kind of emphasizes my point about you having to be active on LinkedIn. Without me being active on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have spotted the opportunity to apply for this program with IRENA, which is the International Renewable Energy Agency. I was successful in applying for the program, and I'm currently doing it, and I think it's great. I think just following the companies and organizations that you're interested in. So, for example, I want to go into renewable energy. So the International Renewable Energy Agency, they're an organization that I want to follow. So I'm interested in them, and it kept me in touch with my future career path. And ultimately, this is a program that's going to go down on my CV that won't be on an awful lot of other CVs. So without LinkedIn, I wouldn't have seen this opportunity. So I'm quite grateful for that, really. Then just before we finish, I think it's often said practice makes perfect, and I think we need to do a little bit of networking ourselves since we're on the topic. So I want everyone, well, not everyone, if you want, you can put your name, course and college, your dream job, and a link to your LinkedIn profile into the chat. Hopefully this will allow people with similar backgrounds and futures to connect with you on LinkedIn, to share knowledge about where you both want to go. And who knows, you might even be a colleague of theirs in the future. I think we have a Q&A session at some point today. Niall will confirm this in a couple of minutes. So you can feel free to ask any questions you have for me there. And I'll also be sharing my LinkedIn details in the chat. So feel free to reach out there if you have any questions. Yeah, so that's kind of it for me. Thanks everyone for your time, and thanks again, Niall, for inviting me on here today. And I look forward to seeing all the LinkedIn profiles in the chat.
Thank you, Niall. That was an excellent presentation, and look, you're a real trailblazer as a final year, and I think everyone has much to learn from you. So I'm going to knock off the recording now.